Hi, this is Pastor Roy, and I'm so excited about being able to share with you today about the fifth person that God has called. Now, let me say this here, is that God's calling and gifts are without repentance. You can find that in Romans chapter 11, verse 29. And God has called each and every one of us. But you're going to have to search within your heart. You're going to have to be discernible. You're going to have to spend some time with God before Him, asking Him. You don't have to beg Him, because He's been waiting, to reveal to you what your calling is. And the same thing about Isaiah. God waited because He was patient until Uzziah died. And then God revealed Himself unto Isaiah. Well, the thing of it is, so many things that were happening in the life of Jeremiah. And we also know that God gave Jeremiah a word. God gave Samuel a word. And God gave so many other people, a word. But what about you? Now that you have the Holy Spirit abiding within you, I want to say this here. You are not deaf to the Holy Spirit, to His voice. Nobody. You can go scuba diving, and God can speak to you, and your spirit will respond. But today I just want to talk to you about a young man that was just really had some things against God in his heart, because he was thinking, how can God be the God of Israel and allow all of these things to take place? We are oppressed. The Midianites have taken our oxen and our sheep and our cattle, and we have no substance, and we don't have no grain or nothing. We're halfway starving, we're halfway naked, and everything like that. How can God do something like that? Well, I'm sure that many people, before God raised up Moses in Egypt, they were saying the same thing. God has an appointed time. I want you to understand that God, listen to me now, that God has an appointed time by which that He's going to call you, listen to me, through a dire circumstance. I want you to think about that, because that is so consistent in the Old Testament. Because in every time that God called one of the patriarchs or the prophets, even Joseph, it was because the nation or the family of God was in a dire strait. They had turned their heart against God. America is getting ready to go through some dark time because it has turned, or it is turning its back on God. And how many people have God chosen to rise up and take their rightful place, that are preparing to raise their hand and say, Lord, here am I. Give me the words to say. But Gideon at that moment wasn't ready to say that. And so what happened is, I want to read this to you in Judges, chapter 6. Okay, verse 11. And there came an angel of the Lord and sat under an oak tree, which was in Ophrah, that pertained unto Joash the Abiezrite. And his son Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress to hide it from the Midianites. And the angel of the Lord, appeared unto him and said unto him, the Lord is with thee, thou mighty man of valor. How can it be? Gideon was next to the winepress. He was threshing wheat and everything. He was disgusted. He was absolutely disgusted because he couldn't take care of his family, and the nation of Israel was oppressed and everything like that. And then God will send an angel. Get this, get this. He didn't realize that God had already set this up. You, as well as myself, have been challenged, and we shall be challenged. We have been called, we have been anointed, we have been appointed, we have been ordained, predestined for a certain time in our lives by which that we can give God the glory and the praise. But Gideon didn't know that. He didn't know it. And all of a sudden, God, appeared under the oak tree, which is consistent in the Old Testament. And all of a sudden, the angel of the Lord, which is, a theophany, which is God Himself, he spoke unto Gideon. Now listen to this. God was calling those things that he had already placed into Gideon to the present. Paul says, we call those things that be not as though they are. Here's a good reason. Here's a good reason. Here's a good reason. Listen. Don't you ever think that God is not beholding the circumstance of his people. So the angel says, Gideon, you mighty man of valor. He says, I know you're not talking about me. You know, I come from the poorest family. I don't have muscles and everything like that. It doesn't matter about your circumstance. It matters how God has called you. You are chosen. You are unique. Don't say who me. Don't say how. Don't say when. Just raise your hand and just simply say, Lord, here am I. Send me. And you know what? When Gideon accepted the call, then God did something miraculous in his life as well as in the people's life. Now, if he could do it for Gideon, my beloved brother, what makes you think that he won't do it for you? All you have to do is just raise your hand and say, Lord, here am I. Send me. Well, this is Pastor Roy. I hope you've been blessed. Until I see you again, may God richly bless you and keep you forever. Bye-bye.